Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. I know it's, I know fourth, I know by this time Fourth of July is over, but I was recording this on I'm recording this on July 4th, so say happy belated, happy 4th of July still, just cause previously we had two on the 4th of July, I had the two recent passings of Michael Madsen and Julianne and Mick Mahan, so that was kind of a depressing thing to hear on the 4th of July. So here, I would consider this my 4th of July because the film kind of takes place around on 4th of July. So but which not only that though, but marks the 50th anniversary of this all-time classic masterpiece, and 50 years later, it still is. It's still one of my all-time favorite movies, and still love the film to death to this day. So yeah, the 50th anniversary of the old time horror classic masterpiece, Jaws. What more can I say about Jaws? Now I reviewed this. I think it was for like the 40th anniversary. I think I did. I think it was for the 40th anniversary. Yeah, back it was 2015. I think it was. Man, but yeah, and I still have my 30th anniversary edition here, and I also got this one here of I also got this here at the Universal's 100th anniversary here. So got the DVD over here. So for the celebration of Universal's 100th anniversary. So I got the how it opens up like this, so which is nice. Yeah. Jaws considered one of the greatest films of all time, no doubt about it, and the movie history's first summer blockbuster. Yep. So this is cool, also cool to have as well. So, but I'll still hold on to this though. But Jaws. Now I won't give much into it though, because I talk about this film. I said about this film time and time again. And what can I say? It's still 50 years later. It's still an all time classic masterpiece. It's never a dull moment with this film. It always I've seen people on YouTube, watching it for the first time. I see some people still kind of like the reaction how they get scared, like but more particularly in the scene where the Richard Dreyfuss was investigating the boat and the whole pop up of the dead body of Ben Gardner, that kind of still made people jump. Like, go at like any YouTube, like first time reacting, people will still jump up to that scene. That scene still even back when I was a kid, that scene scared me. So yeah, it shows that how scary that scene can still scare people, I would say. But other than that though, just like once again, as it's but the film, it's directed by Steven Spielberg, which I love Steven Spielberg, one of my all time favorite directors. If I can talk again. And yes, he has said some shit over like there was that video I did like 1 or 2 years ago, because Spielberg has said some crap though. You can still check out my video. It's my vlog rant. Spielberg regrets Jaws. Right, you can still check out. It's still up. You can still check that video out. He said some shit about how now Jaws, because of the whole people hunting sharks, shark hunting and all, wherever there was I said about in that video. It's just like, I mean, Steven Spielberg. I was like, Steven Spielberg, are you trying to piss off your fan base about this film? You know, are you still trying to piss your fans off? Because you're pissing off like how many people have watched this film the past 50 years and that love your film to death, and you say about regrets about this film. I still say that on that one point, I still think Steven Spielberg is full of shit on that. I'm sorry. He still is on whatever he said. He said, I'm like Steven Spielberg. I love you as a director, but you know, Jaws is still a classic masterpiece, and yet you still talk. You talk that one point you talk stupid shit about that. Come on. People for 50 years have loved the film. Who cares about it? Yeah, I know, but the whole yeah, it's illegal to shark hunting or whatever to make shark. They capture them to make shark fin soup. Okay. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong to do. Yes. Okay. But still. But other than that aside, all that bullshit aside, Steven Spielberg did a great job with the film. I still say that though. He still did a wonderful, fantastic job with this film, and I won't get too much into it because of all the problems with this film. The production of this film had, right, especially dealing with the shark. You know, of course, as I say, the shark is not working. The shark is not working. You know, the whole documentary on that, right? Yeah, the shark is not working. But yeah, we know the production problems about that, so I won't get much into that either. But other than that, though, Steven Spielberg did a wonderful, fantastic job. I the score by John Williams. It's still one of the most iconic pieces of music to this day. Still, in film history, it still is the classic dun 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 dun. It's still a iconic cinematic piece of film score. Still, it still is. The great practical effects of the mechanical shark, or named Bruce, it's still fantastic. Still, despite the problems they had trying to get it to work. Still, love the cast. Our main cast: Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. Still love the three trio. Still. Of course, you got of course, including ones like Lorraine Gary, you got Murray Hamilton. Of course, the novel is based on by Peter Benchley, which I read the book years ago. Still a great book. In which mentioned Peter Benchley, he has a cameo during that 4th of July day on the beach. The reporter, talking right in the middle of the beach. He had like glasses on. He had saying the fin of a killer shark. That's author Peter Benchley. But Lauren Gary and Murray Hamilton, I thought they still do good. Especially Murray Hamilton being the dickwad of a mayor because he cares about having. Yeah, it's a summer place to be because that's what they do. It's a summer vacation place where that's where we get their profits from, right? That's what he was thinking about. You close the beaches, then there's nothing, right? But thing is, at the same time, he didn't listen because there's been one killing, well, two because of the whole thing with Ben Garner, but still. Then the third one, oh no, he still gets me even after the incident, and he's telling Chief Brody, he's like, "I'm truly sorry," and I'm like, "Bullshit." I still to this day, I still say, "Bullshit, you're sorry," okay? Bullshit, you're sorry. And then he ends up doing the same thing in Jaws 2, playing with that other asshole. you know, it's like, oh, he tells him when there was another shark, and he says, hey, don't Brody, don't press it this time. So apparently he didn't learn anything from the first movie. But still, Murray Hamilton, he was a good actor. Still, he's still as Mayor Larry Vaughn. Same with Lorraine Gary, plays Chief Brody's wife. But the main thing is it's Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. So you get the cast, the music, the score, the directing, the effects. Although the location is set in Martha's Anime Island, but it takes place. They shot in Martha's Vineyard. So what more can I say about the film? But going with the plot, like of course the iconic opening of the woman Christine. Which actually, sadly, the actress who played the woman Christine in the opening, she passed away, I think, last year. Sad to say. I was like, oh damn, from the very iconic opening of Jaws. Which, yeah, originally how they wanted to show the shark at the beginning, but I think they did the smart thing by not showing it, by instead of showing it from its POV. That was great about the suspense of it, showing from the shark from his point of view, instead of just full on seeing it. But that was the iconic opening with the woman Christine. Um, but yeah, sadly that actress, I think she passed away last year though, so that was sad. So rest in peace to her. Um, then they found out that the thing is a shark, and of course they have a scene where the kid Alex, when they're on the beach, really gory for the time when it was rated PG. You see this so full of blood coming out of the water with the kid being devoured, and then they got the town meeting where they want to close the beaches, and then of course the classic work with Robert Shaw as Quint, just the nails on the chalkboard, which kind of irritates people, still irritates people because the whole how hearing the nails on a chalkboard, right? And him playing Quint, the toughest nails sailor who's hunted sharks. I was like, you don't know me. I am for a living. I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. Bad fish. The shark swallow you whole. I value my neck. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. Find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. $10,000 for me by myself. With that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing. Robert Shaw played Quint perfectly. So yeah, he did a great job. And the Roy Scheider as Chief Martin Brody, great job as well. Yeah, I miss Roy Scheider. Of course, I enjoy him from other films like Blue Thunder, or where he played even for his little role in 2004's The Punisher. He played Thomas Jane's dad. Or of course the sequel 2010, the year we made contact, the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey. He was good in that film, or even when he was on the TV show Sequest. Roy Scheider has been a great actor. He's been missed, sad to say. Of course, one thing he did a solid job in Jaws too, of course. And also he was also the good parts in although I wasn't really big on the French Connection with the late Gene Hackman, but Roy Scheider was also good in that as well, though. I wasn't really big on the first French Connection, but Roy Scheider and Gene Hackman, they both did a good job, though. So earlier this year we lost Gene Hackman. Rest in peace to him. But Roy Scheider is a great actor as well. So they want to find the shark, and then that's when Richard Dreyfuss comes in as Matt Hooper from the Oceanographic Institute. Examine the remains of the first victim, saying the classic line, "Well, this wasn't a boat accident," and it wasn't Jack the Ripper, it was a shark. They supposedly found the shark as a tiger shark though, but it's the wrong one, and so they digest it. They take out whatever's inside of it. Then that's when they go out and find it at nighttime. That's when they find the wreckage of a boat. That's Ben Gardner. And that's when he finds the shark too. That's where we get the famous jump scare with the body coming out of the hole. That's what scared a lot of people. What's the first time people who watched it on YouTube who watch it for the first time, they still get scared of that scene. And then they tell the mayor. He doesn't listen. And so he still wants the beach open because it's the 4th of July weekend. So many people are coming in. People are afraid to get in the water, but the mayor convinces them to. So people are in the water having fun, and then they get these 2 kids pulling this really lame ass prank, scaring the hell out of everyone with the fake shark fin. But then the real shark comes in, where you have Brody's son Mike and 2 other kids on this boat, and then you got the shark who gets like one of the other this one of the guys. It was one of the lifeguards, I think. I forget though, but apparently, I guess there was a deleted there was a deleted scene where that it was supposed to be a lot more gorier for that scene. But we do get the first shot of the full on view of the shark when he eats that guy. And of course, the leg coming down, the dismembered leg. Then Brody's son Mike, he is in a state of shock. So that's when at the hospital, that's when the mayor says, "Oh, I'm truly sorry." I'm like, "Bullshit, you're sorry." They try to tell you, they show you the well, even though Hooper dropped the shark's tooth though, but still, but they try to tell him, but no. I had to result in another death though. So they had to hire. They finally hires Quint, pay him the 10,000, and and it was great. Robert Shaw. Yeah, you get the drink, to Brody. Say, here's this swimming with bow-legged women, and and then well, of course, and then it's, of course, and fun fact, and the fact in real life that Robert Shaw he disliked Richard Dreyfuss. I think it was because of the conflict of their acting personalities. Like with Robert Shaw, he's like the old fashioned, traditional style of method acting, right? Where he saw like Richard Dreyfuss, being younger, of course, say his different style of acting, being younger. He thought he was like less inexperienced or or unnecessary for his methods, So yeah, it was Robert Shaw. It was kind of like more on the dislike Richard Dreyfuss more. I think it was and I think at times like he would also intentionally antagonize Richard Dreyfuss, like mocking Richard Dreyfuss on his mannerisms and stuff, and so I think so Robert Shaw would intentionally antagonize him, but it's like seeing how he's just like saying that he like how Richard Dreyfuss is somewhat arrogant, because he's like younger, more like less experienced, So it was basically a clash of different acting personalities. That's why Robert Shaw kind of disliked Richard Dreyfuss on set, So, but of course, when we get the scene where they're comparing each other's scars and stuff like that, right? It's like you think like Quint and Hooper are besties, but it's like funny like in real life, like Shaw disliked Richard Dreyfuss, so I just find that ironic. But then they take his boat, the Orca, out to sea, and one thing leads to another. Like the shark comes, and you get once again the classic theme playing, and of course, Roy Scheider saying one of movie history's famous lines: "You're gonna need a bigger boat." So they give chase to it. They say great score by John Williams. And that night, that's when they're comparing it. That's when Quint and Hooper compare each other's scars, and Richard Dreyfuss. He's like, it always makes me laugh every time. I was like this. It's like, you're wearing a sweater right there. Marielle Muffet. She broke my heart. And it was always like how the way Richard Dreyfuss. What makes me laugh is how the way Richard Dreyfuss, how the way he laughs. What makes me laugh, I can't do it because I'll do a terrible job of how the way he laughs, but just the way how Richard Dreyfuss laughs, it just makes me laugh, And then it's like, oh, it's about the tattoo that Robert Shaw had removed, Quint's tattoo that he had removed, and Hooper's like, don't tell me, mother. But he tells him that was he was on the USS Indianapolis. And of course, you got that very compelling, terrifying story. The famous scene, another famous scene where Quint tells the famous terrifying tale of when he was on the USS Indianapolis. Of course, the famous story how the USS Indianapolis sank, and then all the people, the remaining survivors, they gathered in tight groups because there was a lot of sharks in the water. And just waiting for help to save them, So, and how Robert Shaw, how he described his tale of this whole thing was very, very compelling, and just the way if you imagine yourself, if you close your eyes and imagine yourself how the way he's telling it, it's very frightening, and I would say not say mesmerizing, but it's just like just like very very dark how the way he describes it, and just very very sliding chief. Sharks come cruising. Tiger, 13-footer. How we look at shark in the eyes, they just have just lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes. So yeah, very very dark and compelling story how he tells about what happened during the USS Indianapolis. So that's another famous scene was the a great storytelling by Robert Shaw. So then afterwards, like the next day, they found the two barrels, and then they shoot another one. Can say with three barrels. A good chase scene. Um, then afterwards, that's when Hooper decides to get into the shark cage. Tries to stick with the spear, but the shark knocks off his hand. Tries to get into the cage to grab him. So Hooper tries stabbing a couple times, but he manages to get out, and he wisely hides. He hides, and then you get the very famous scene. To me, it's still one of horror film's greatest deaths. The shark jumps onto the boat, and then Quint, he slips down. Like Brody tries to grab, but he slips. Then Quint just slides down right into the shark's mouth. Just you can when you just grab when he just like chomps on him, you can hear the bones crack. And just that Robert Shaw in the shark's mouth. Just still very horrible way to die. Still is, and to me, it's one of horror film's greatest deaths. It still is to me. It is at least to me. It is still one of the best deaths in horror films. And then the shark is inside the boat, tries to get Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider throws the tank in, and then he just comes onto the mast, tries stabbing it, but then gets the rifle and starts aiming at the tank. That was that way John Williams' score playing, and John Williams orchestra playing it. Smile, you son of a bitch. Blows it up. Which, of course, that has been debunked on the show MythBusters. That's which they debunked that would not happen, though. But it's for entertainment value. So, yeah, despite the fact that would never happen, it's still fun, though. Great explosion. And Roy Scheider just laughing as it just... And then Richard Dreyfuss, he pops up and says, Quint. No. So they both decide just to swim about all the way back to shore. And it's like, and Roy Scheider's like, I used to hate the water. And then Richard Dreyfuss, I can't imagine why. And then during the credits, you show the white shot of the beach, and you see very far in the distance that you see them two finally make it back to shore. So, what can I say about Jaws? Like I said, despite the production problems the film had, especially trying to get the shark to work, that's pretty one of the main reasons. But other than that, though, Steven Spielberg, he did a fantastic job with Jaws. Despite the fact I disagree with that whole bullshit he was saying about how he regrets it and all that, I'm like, Mr. Spielberg, don't talk about that, please. Millions of fans love, even 50 years later, still love your film. So don't piss off fans by saying a bunch of malarkey bullshit like that, please. Just don't. Unless like it's one of those films, if you make a film that it's utter complete crap, say like Jaws or Revenge, you can say, like how if anyone says like who worked on the film, like the director or the cast, say, oh, that film was crap, then that's the reason to say it, though. But not to one of your films that is considered one of the greatest films in movie history. Hello. You did a wonderful, fantastic job with the film, and now you say that bull crap years later? No. That shit doesn't fly with me. No. it's still a fun, kick-ass summer film to watch, and how it's a bunch of terrified audiences back then. Come on, Steven, come on. I know you'll never see this though, cause I'm just a nobody on YouTube. I'm just like this. See my screen here? I'm like just like not even a little tiny dot on this little corner right here of the screen where my fingers are right here. That's how little of me I'm on here on YouTube. I'm pretty much just not even a teensy little dot on there on YouTube. So I know I don't never see this though, but I'm just an average nobody. Despite the fact I've been on here going on 12 years on YouTube. Jesus Christ, man, it's been that long. But still, I still love the film today, and Steven Spielberg, you did a fantastic job with this film. It's still 50 years later. It's a masterpiece. Still to this day, still terrifying to this day to people who have not yet seen it. Love the score by John Williams is one of the greatest scores he's done. One of the most iconic ever in film score, film music, or whatever. Despite the problems had with the mechanical shark Bruce, great awesome effects still to this day. The cast, like I said, Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss, great cast. You know, the main trio here. Many iconic lines. Of course, you're gonna need a bigger boat. It wasn't a boat accident. Still great. Virtually, like, of course, with Laurie and Gary, Murray Hamilton being the asshole, playing the asshole mayor. Like I said, in the sequel in Jaws 2, probably didn't learn a thing. Of course, it ended up and the other councils, whatever, ended up firing Chief Brody and had to take another death. Until that one guy is saying to Laurie and Gary's like, "Oh, believe me, I'm sorry." Oh, just like what the mayor said in the first film. Apparently, you didn't learn a damn thing, did ya? The two sons of bitches. Yeah, shows how much of an asshole you and the mayor were. Like how the mayor was in the first film, and you in Jaws 2. Believe me, I'm sorry. And Lauren Gary says, "I don't give a damn what you're thinking. All I know is the boy's dead. My son and husband are still out there." Yeah. Why can't the? It's like what Richard Dreyfuss. It's just like what Richard Dreyfuss said to the mayor when they were saying, "Oh, this is a great white shark." He's like, he says, "Oh, I am familiar with the fact that you're going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you in the ass." Well, pun intended. Yeah, you know, it swam up and bite them in the ass. That's what happened. Until it swims, that you're going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you in the ass. Yeah, love Roy Scheider, I love Robert Shaw, and I love Richard Dreyfuss. Both great, all three great actors. Sadly, though, both Roy Scheider and Robert Shaw died nearly 50 years later, and Roy Scheider died back in 2008. Richard Dreyfuss, he's still alive though. He's the last one left though. So, but yeah, I still love Jaws. 50 years later, it's still an all-time masterpiece. Still one of the greatest films of all time. One of my all-time favorite movies still to this day. And it's never gotten that old. 50 years later, to me, it's not dated at all. Still not dated even after 50 years later. Nope. Only just the difference in technology of today. That's the only difference, though. But still. Yep. I don't know what more I can say about Jaws. What a great way to celebrate the 50th anniversary of an all-time classic masterpiece. Yep. So happy 50th anniversary to Jaws, and Steven Spielberg, please. You got fans who still love your film to this day. Just keep them happy. That's all, you know. So. Dun 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 dun. None of man's fantasies of evil can compare with the reality of Jaws. From the trailer. So yeah. So 50th anniversary, 50 years later, still all-time classic masterpiece. Always will be. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time. Later. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention one thing really quick before I ended their video. I also managed to get this. While I was at the movie theater, at of course at AMC, of course. I managed to get this as this collector 50th for the celebrating for Jaws' 50th anniversary. I managed to collect this. It's a popcorn bucket. You see, you put your popcorn in here. So yeah, they sell the collectible popcorn buckets. So I saw this, and I had to get it because, like I said, I love Jaws. So hey, it's great to have this big Jaws popcorn bucket. And I saw my mom this. I showed my mom this, and because hey, she even said this was pretty cool, you know, because she also loves Jaws too. So she even said this was pretty cool to have. So yeah, I really want to show this really quick because hey, what a better way to celebrate Jaws' 50th anniversary with a classic, you know, with the classic popcorn bucket. So, yep. So that's what I further mention. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews, and see you next time. Later.